Boom. Okay, here we go. Episode 3. Turns out that writing very long essays every week to then record as podcasts is a tough schedule to keep up with. So, shooting from the hip today. Doing what I do best, telling stories. While I finish the next more structured episode, The Future of Story. But I also had lunch with a top executive at Substack and got some info on where they're headed and how they could theoretically organize an indie film channel on their platform, which of course sent me back to my business plan for some revisions and readjustments. We'll share those soon. Today, I am just going to do a list. Everyone loves lists. My list is 10 of the weirdest things that I witnessed in Hollywood. I had so many of these on my note cards that I might have to do another episode and do a whole separate episode on funny celebrity encounters. There's also a few in here. But let's give it a shot. Again, the focus here is on weird, supernatural, surreal, shocking, uncanny, the kind of what the fuck moments that only Los Angeles can create. But first, let's start with a tone-setting mishmash of quotes from the first 2 pages of The City of Quartz by Mike Davis. Los Angeles, it should be understood, is not a mere city. On the contrary, it is and has been since 1888 a commodity, something to be advertised and sold to the people of the United States like automobiles, cigarettes, and mouthwash. Is my quote voice good? A place where seduced talents are wasted, prostituted, trivialized, or destroyed. Los Angeles, and its alter ego Hollywood, becomes the city of seduction and defeat. The oddity of Los Angeles is that it has come to play the double role of utopia and dystopia for advanced capitalism. Love that quote. Highly recommend that book. I spent almost 2 decades down there, so I collected some very, very weird memories. I'm a magnet for weird shit, but I want to move on from that as I get older and start manifesting a more high-level frequency. I got my note cards ready. We're going to get into the list. I'm going to start with some short ones. Number 10, the Faustino Bargain. First night moving back to Los Angeles, I was 24 years old. My friend texted me, said her and a group of her girlfriends were out at a club on Ivar. It was a Tuesday night. Put on a collared shirt, which I never wear. I barely even wear sleeves. Walk down from Hollywood and Vine from my shitty apartment. Walk to this club, which is empty. There's one bouncer outside. Boom, hand my ID, think I'm going to get let right in. He gives me the scan, looks up and down, wait over there. So I have to go behind the red velvet rope and wait to get into an empty club. I'm the only person in line. Not joking, 10 to 15 seconds later, nice car pulls up and 5 little gelled haired hobbits get out in like Von Dutch hats and like sparkly shirts and sparkly jeans and cool leather wrist straps, whatever those are fucking called. And the first one out and up to the door is David Faustino from Married with Children. Bouncer recognizes him, big warm greeting. David daps up the bouncer. The rope gets opened and all 5 of his little hobbit buddies get ushered right in while I'm waiting outside. And it was a funny moment, part of the course. Like if you're a celebrity in LA, you're going to get treated differently. But it was a big moment for me the night I moved back to Los Angeles to commit to this journey, to go, holy shit, even the B, C, D-list celebrities carry weight around here. And this is going to be a big, big adjustment. Number 9, Shrek fight. When I lived in Hollywood, I lived alone. It's pretty isolated. Trying to break into Hollywood, I would get depressed. And when I was depressed, I had a simple tactic to cure my depression. I would walk down Hollywood Boulevard. I would leave my apartment on Vine, walk down Hollywood Boulevard all the way to La Brea where that super church is, and see so much sad, pathetic, desperate shit that would make me feel better about my life. And one time I was walking down there. I had called my dad to catch up. I was right in front of the Man's Theater where all of the characters dress up. And there was a white trash dad in the classic Midwest white trash getup, bent hat, shitty t-shirt, Costco jorts, like high white socks, white sneakers, and there was a Shrek. And the Shrek was a big fucking dude with the same Shrek beer belly. And the white trash guy was probably 50. His kids were like 10, 12, or little white trash ratty kids. And they were trying to run up to Shrek so the dad could snap a free photo. And Shrek was moving away and asking for $5. That's how it works. Like, you want to take a photo with me? Pay me $5. So Shrek was like borderline stiff arming the kids so the dad couldn't get a shot. And it was escalating. And I was commentating. I was like doing the live commentary to my dad on the phone. And then the Shrek kind of touched one of the kids and the dad snapped, and the dad came up in Shrek's blind spot, grabbed the rubber mask and yanked it off like violently. Shrek's head went down, and when he popped up, it was like a 55-year-old black man, and the white trash guy froze, and the old black man froze, and the guy had Shrek's mask in his hand. And before anyone could say anything, those two fucking people rushed at each other and had a 50-year-old man fight. No straight shots, just like drunk boxing, clubbing each other in the ears on the side of the head, just roundhouses constantly. And I'm doing the live commentary for my dad, and I'm like, what the fuck do I do? What the fuck do I do? And before I can like hang up and go break the fight up, a little tiny Spider-Man rushes up out of nowhere, runs in and separates the guy. And then the whole debate started of like, should the family pay for Shreks? I didn't see if there was a transaction at the end, but I watched a white trash Midwest dad fight a black Shrek, and I watched Spider-Man break it up. Great Hollywood memory. Number 8, Freedom Bagel. I gotta speed this up or it's gonna take forever. Dominic Russo and I, my childhood best friend, other Workaholics co-creator, we were so broke when we were starting Workaholics that we couldn't afford a car. So we got a hand-me-down purple Prius from my uncle, who will become a much bigger character later. But he gave us one of those first edition purple Priuses that looked like a little purple egg vibrator. And we're on the 101 North, driving right out by Universal. I'm on a big coffeed up rant about shooting our webisode. And Dom just stops me. He goes, dude, stop. And I thought I had said something. And he's like, don't look now, but Robert the Bruce is right next to you, shoving a bagel in his mouth. And immediately snapped my head over. And sure enough, in a beautiful silver Mercedes, Robert the Bruce, the actor, I don't know his name, phone pinned to his ear, one hand on the wheel, and he's using the phone pinned ear to take an entire half of a bagel and shove it into his mouth in one bite. But he can't get it all the way in, so he's just kind of poking it into the circumference of his mouth. And then he turns like this and sees me staring at him. And he has one of those, oh shit, celebrity moments. He's clearly embarrassed. He's got half of a bagel sticking out of his mouth. He turns to us and we're laughing. And he just has one of those moments where he's like, yeah, guys, you fucking got me. It's been a morning, okay? Yeah, I'm fucking Robert the Bruce and I got a bagel in my mouth. Go fuck yourself. Number 7. Another quick one. Smoking weed with robots. My second show, we shot, the writer's room was right by La Brea Tar Pits, and I used to walk back home to West Hollywood, and I walked through Pan Pacific Park. I'm from San Francisco. I like walking. I don't like driving everywhere. Walking home, sunset, Pan Pacific Park. There's not a lot of people out there. I kind of crest over the hill, and I'm walking through the main artery of the park, and up over the hill comes Wiz Khalifa, and he's smoking a huge blunt, and there's a little tiny 4-wheeled robot just staying right next to him on his hip, and they're having a full-on conversation about life and music and art. And it's like I just walk past him and he kind of gives me a, hey, what's up? And I pass through his huge cloud of weed smoke, and the robot just kind of follows him off into this. I look around and I'm like, okay, like this is clearly, they're shooting something here. And I do a full 360 scan looking for the camera crew, and there's no one in sight. It was the 3 of us in a park. It was Wiz Khalifa smoking a huge blunt during a beautiful LA pollution fractured sunlight, chilling, talking with a robot. If anyone has seen that clip, send it to me. I don't know what it was from. Number 6, another sunset magic story. Look, LA can be very hard the day-to-day existence can feel like Groundhog Day, where it's always 75 to 80 degrees with no clouds in the sky. It can kind of feel like life Prozac, where it's just the same moments over and over again. It feels mundane. Months can go by with no real milestones or movement on anything, and you start to feel a little insane. But then the biggest allure of LA is like there are these moments of magic. Sometimes it's just seeing someone you really admire or seeing a celebrity that kind of shakes you out of your mundane Groundhog Day routine. But this time, my friend and I were driving home from Beverly Hills. We'd had a few drinks. It was a beautiful sunset night. So we pull up to the light and we're stopped at like a ghost town. There's no other cars around, no people. We're in Beverly Hills. And up right next to us just rolls in a blue Bentley convertible, music on, Magic Johnson. And my friend, without hesitating, turns, looks across me and just goes, "Hey, Magic, how's your night going?" And he turns to us, turns his music down, gives us the biggest, most genuine, warm, kind-hearted smile, just goes, "Hey, I'm doing all right, fellas. How are you doing?" And it was so just magical. It was truly magical to see a larger-than-life icon. You can just go out for an errand or a stupid social event, and you can run into someone that is larger than life, an icon, and you get that just magic jolt of energy that reminds you why you live in that city. Number 5, sometimes this feels like Europe. I'm already losing my voice. Now, I lived everywhere in LA, from Topanga Canyon to all the beach communities, Hollywood, West Hollywood. Our favorite place in Los Angeles was Echo Park, and specifically Elysian Heights. It was beautiful. It was more lush than you think it is. There's hidden stairs and hiking trails and coffee shops tucked into the hills. And we had a little tiny, itty-bitty tiny bungalow that had a big, huge deck. And the deck had a view of all of Los Angeles. And the sunsets out there were magical. So we ate dinner out there every night. And I cooked my wife a nice dinner. I light some candles. We put some chill music on. The sun is dipping down towards the coast and just painting up the entire vista of Los Angeles, the entire city. And we're sitting there, and my wife, who's the smartest person I've ever met, but skews a little anxious, takes a big inhale and has one of those like long life exhales where you can tell someone is truly at peace, and that moment is very special to them. So I hear this exhale, and she goes, "You know what? Sometimes this place feels like Europe." And I was just like, "Oh, it's beautiful. Like we found our little pocket in this sea of madness, and my wife is happy and I'm happy." 20 seconds go by, 20, 30 seconds. We hear tires screeching. We hear 2 cars collide, crunching metal, screams, silence for a few seconds, more screaming, cursing, and then a fucking full-on gunfight. 2 cars shooting at each other, bullets going through metal, like glass, screaming, cars honking, people running away, fucking chaos. And my wife, who felt like she had just cursed that moment, just kind of drops her head and just goes, "This is not Europe." And it was funny. I hope no one got hurt, but it was heartbreaking too that we had this moment of peace in that city, and then a real life gunfight broke out a few blocks below us. Number 4, Grand Theft LA. This was back in my bachelor days. I was in the valley, heading back up over the hill to come home after work, and I'm at a big intersection, one of those ones that's like 4 lanes on each side, and it's almost like a mini freeway. It's packed. It's nighttime. I'm the first car at the stoplight, and I needed gas and I needed a can. So I was going to go to the gas station right on the kitty corner. All I had to do was cross the big intersection and pull in. But after living in Los Angeles for a very long time, I became a very cautious, defensive driver. Like, because you almost get killed there every day. So I'm at the intersection, the light turns green, and I kind of roll out a little bit to make sure no one's going to run the light. And sure enough, I slam on the brakes because there is a hoopty, like an old beat-up grandma car that's rusted brown and silver, barreling towards through the intersection in a red light, like at 80 miles an hour. I slam on the brakes. Like, luckily I caught it, and probably there's, I don't know, 30 feet between me and the car. So it whipped by me, but I was the first car that it would have hit. It goes flying through the intersection. And then I see a headlight, a spotlight trailing it like this, and a helicopter. A helicopter is literally chasing it, a police helicopter. And then I looked up, and there's news helicopters, and it just took off. The pursuit. I drive into the gas station, park my car. I'm like, wow, that is crazy. I am so grateful that I just did not get plowed at the intersection during a high-speed chase. I get out of my car, and at the gas station, there's the live feed of the car chase. So the police and the news helicopter that just flew in front of me is now filming this. And I'm watching it on the live feed as I fill up my gas. Like, this is insane. So as I'm watching this chase on the pump, this Grand Theft Auto chase, a few seconds go by, the car loses control, the news chopper's following it, it starts to spin like this, it starts to kind of shake, and it goes right into a phone pole. Boom, just folds and like chaos debris. The news chopper zooms up to get a better view. A squad, a legion of cop cars surround it. It's just chaos on the screen. I'm listening to the newscaster, talk about it. And while this is all happening, another car comes screeching into the parking lot, like a little tinted out Civic or sedan, looked like a stripper car. Screeches into the lot, parks right near me. I hear girls screaming inside. Dead Mouse is playing inside the car. The driver gets out. The other girls get out. They're screaming and cursing about something, and I think it's chase related. They open up the side door, and they pull their friend out, who is in huge heels, and she is covered in vomit. And they are dragging her, and her heels are just kind of dragging along the concrete, and they're screaming and cursing at her. They'd been clearly pre-partying before going downtown to go clubbing, and she is projectile vomiting, like just streams of vomit onto the concrete as they drag her towards the gas station bathroom. It was chaos. At a stoplight, almost get killed, T-boned by a hoopty, see the news choppers, pull in, watch the crash, strippers vomiting. All in a minute. Number 3, punked at 7-Eleven on Christmas morning. This one's sad and funny, and ultimately was kind of a tipping point for us leaving LA. But my wife, our daughter, her due date was 2 Christmases ago. So we're living in Echo Park. Our due date is Christmas, so we don't go home. We're not going to see anyone. We're basically on call. Bags are packed. We're ready to rush to the hospital. And I was going to make my wife a big brunch, a big breakfast in bed on Christmas morning. We're going to hang out, see if the water breaks. But I wake up at 7 in the morning and I realize I did not have eggs. I was going to make pancakes. So I get in the car on Christmas morning. My wife's still sleeping. I drive down the hill from Echo Park and I try a few. Of course, the corner stores are closed and the liquor stores closed. So I circle out to Alvarado, and thank God I see the 7-Eleven is open for business. Not another car in the parking lot. So I pull in, and if anyone knows Los Angeles, this 7-Eleven on Alvarado, right by the freeway overpass, is not a place you want to go to. So I pull in, there's no one there. There's like a 20-year-old Indian kid behind the counter who seems really nice. He kind of gives me a, hey, what's up? I get pointed to the kind of weird round open aisle of refrigerated goods. And I have my hands on my hips like this. And I'm looking down at the 7-Eleven eggs, wondering if these are safe for my pregnant wife to eat. And then in this year, I just hear, why you standing like that? And I turn. It was so jarring because I didn't think anyone else was in the store. And I turn to the right, and almost right up on top of me is a very large man. I'm a big guy. This guy was bigger than me. He was a big cholo. His eyes are this big, and they are vibrating from meth. And he's just staring at me. And I'm like, I immediately go, this is not good. This guy's looking for a fight. I try to de-escalate the situation. I go, dude, I'm going to go make pancakes for my pregnant wife, and I'm just getting these eggs. He's like, you should get some new eggs. And I'm like, I don't know what that means, but these eggs are okay. I grab the carton of eggs, and I don't want to turn my back to him, so I just awkwardly backpedal to the counter. He follows me. He's basically trying to start a fight on Christmas morning in 7-Eleven in Echo Park. He gets closer. I kind of back up again. I look at the kid, and the kid looking at two massive dudes in his store, and he's like, please don't let this happen. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to fight this guy. I'm just going to try to get out of here. I put the eggs on the counter. The kid goes to start ringing him up. The big guy on meth comes to the counter. He's like, yeah, you should get these eggs. You should get some new eggs. I'm like, no, these are good. And I kind of put my hand on him, and he steps toward me, and I take like 2 steps back. Like, this is about to go down. He keeps eye contact with me, staring into my soul, opens the egg container, and proceeds to pop every single one of them with his dirty finger. So I'm standing there, and I'm shocked, but I'm almost laughing at how bizarre this situation is. He kind of shakes his finger off, and he stares at me. He's like, yeah, see what I'm saying? He's like, you should get some new eggs. And I'm just like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. And I'll never forget, he was staring at me, and right to the right of him was just like the gross hot dog wheels, and they're just kind of spinning slowly, and this guy's nodding at me with his big drug eyes going, let's get into a fight. And the hot dogs are spinning, and my wife's right up the hill about to give birth. It was bizarre, surreal, and luckily I went and got another carton of eggs, guarded this one gently, got out to the car. He followed me out to the car, tried to start a fight with me, slammed on the hood, but I was able to get away and go back home. My wife is up now, and I walk in like I just saw a ghost, and she's like, what just happened? And I proceed to tell her that I got punked on Christmas morning at a 7-Eleven, and I got all my eggs popped. And that was the beginning of the end for us. I mean, this happens in every city, but egg popping from a Cholo felt distinctly unique to Los Angeles. Number 2, a Baja Fresh panic attack. This one's a little bit more dangerous to tell, but I'm just going to come right out and say it because enough time has passed. BLM decided to march with Pride on the same weekend. So they were all going to meet at Hollywood and Highland and walk to West Hollywood together to show solidarity. Unfortunately, when you combine a very heightened political protest with people who are on all kinds of drugs and substances celebrating their queerness, in theory, it should have worked, but when you actually threw those two crowds together, it was bizarre. So this was already an uncomfortable situation for me. I didn't know if I was supposed to be there or not be there. Just by how I look more like a boogaloo boy and a police officer, so I felt uncomfortable going. But my wife and her friends, I ended up going with 3 of them, convinced me that it was important to go and show support and just to be an observer for the day and just to listen. Like, it was important for someone that looks like me to just go there, march, and listen. So they make me a sign. I have my BLM sign, and we Uber there. I don't know what the final count of people for that march was, but it was the most people I've ever seen congregated in one area of LA. Tens of thousands of people. So we have our signs. We get out blocks away from Hollywood and Highland. We have to weave through just seas of people to get there. And we get to the main kind of intersection, like right past Hollywood and Highland, but west a block. And we finally find a way to kind of like weave in and get on the main artery. But the march hasn't started yet. I'm a large person. My wife is a tiny little Polly Pocket. I lose her in a sea of people in 2 seconds. She and her friends are off. I'm lost. So I lose my wife, and I'm holding my BLM sign in a sea of people, looking like a big, dumb white guy that is not supposed to be there. And I look around. I remember looking out and trying to find my wife. And I'm just going to take you through what I saw in this one moment. Right in front of me, there was a big black dude, like steroid big, in a Ronnie Lott jersey with a chrome motorcycle helmet on a burnt orange big motorcycle. And he turns his music off and then starts revving his engine. And he's peeling out basically. And he creates a huge cloud of smoke and that stench of burnt rubber. And he's doing it so people immediately have to move away from him. So like I go from sidewalk to getting pressed against the wall. And I'm like standing like this with my sign, can't move. Through the smoke, like a movie shot, comes a little older Mexican man pushing his popsicle cart, and he's ringing his bell and he's calling out all the flavors he's got. And he's trying to get people to buy popsicles. Again, it's like 95 degrees today. It's so hot. He comes and passes right in front of me. I look up to the left and there's a huge float with like a truck, and there's a trans rights activist on the float giving a very passionate speech about trans rights that's really loud. I look down to the left and there's like corporate press juicery girls in their backpacks, just they want to get the photo ops there, so they're just handing out press juices to everyone. So you got like corporate reps handing out juice. To the left of them, there's a white summer camp van that looks like it just got parked on the side of the road and left. All the doors are open. No one's in it. And there's just a cute little chubby Filipino twink laying on top of the van, cooking in the sun. I know substances well. I know the symptoms and the effects of substances, so I can tell this kid is high out of his mind on Molly, just cooking in the sun, and he's wearing a Tigger costume. He's got half of it zipped open, laying on top of the van. We make eye contact, and he kind of just gives me one of these while his head's down. He just kind of waves like, how's your day going? He's high as hell. I look to the left of him, and this other black guy, probably in his 30s, comes up, and he's got he's got a portable like speaker and a microphone plugged into it, and he starts going off. And I don't know who it is, but I think it's a showrunner or a TV producer or a TV writer. He starts ranting about Netflix. He's like, I sold the show to Netflix, and Netflix is corporate slavery. And let me tell you how they ripped me off. And he starts breaking down his TV deal, and he's screaming about it. And I'm like, holy shit, this guy really knows what he's talking about. Meanwhile, all of this is happening. I'm getting pressed back into the window, and I realize it's the window of a Baja Fresh, and they're open and they're slinging burritos during all of this. So I get pressed into the window. I can't move. There's people. I'm touching 8 people at this moment. It's so hot. I lost my wife. I'm holding my BLM sign, and I just hear, order number 72. Order number 77, your order's ready. So I'm sitting there. It's everything. So motorcycle, popsicles, 2 amazing speeches going on at once, Baja Fresh behind me, Tigger's on Molly, just chaos. And I start to panic. Like, I can't move. I don't really like crowds, and I'm pressed up against people. And I'd never felt that feeling before, but I feel it in my chest, and then I feel like I can't get air in, and I'm starting to panic, and I'm like, the last thing I want to do is a very large white guy is to like start moving people out of the way to get to some space where I can breathe. So I just hold tighter, and I'm trying to fight this panic attack. And then all of a sudden, on my wrist, I feel my wife grab me. And she's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know. I got lost. And she can see it's like coming. And she's like, come with me. And she pulls me out of the crowd. And luckily we get away and we get around the corner, and I can kind of take a deep breath and resettle. But I literally almost had a panic attack at the BLM march because I didn't want to move people out of the way because I was so in my head about making a scene there. Everything I saw that day was incredible and surreal and bizarre. That many people from that many different backgrounds marching together, but it was also so LA. It was important, and everyone wanted to be there, but everyone had conflicting agendas, and it was kind of a microcosm of LA. Like, you can get all these people together for one reason, but they're all going to have their own purpose for being there. So the march ended up being pretty beautiful, and it opened up towards the end, so I was able to breathe and not have panic attacks. Okay, the weirdest thing I saw in LA. You ready for this one? Number 1, slow dancing to Purple Rain. I can't divulge this whole story because they encourage you not to talk about it, but through a mutual friend, not because of anything I've done, I got invited to Madonna's Oscar party, which is notorious. It's pretty small. It's pretty intimate. It's at her business partner manager's house. The most insane thing I've ever seen. But I go there. I'm standing by myself. I got invited kind of last minute. So the day before I had to go to Men's Warehouse and rent like a shitty tux. I don't own a tuxedo. So I'm there at Madonna's Oscar party at like midnight, standing by myself at the bar, and in walks Tom Brady and Giselle. She runs away to go talk to people. Tom's just standing there by himself. So I'm like, okay, well, fuck it. We might as well go talk to him. So I walk up to Tom Brady, have a nice chat. He was lovely. And I think everyone just assumed I was Tom Brady's friend or plus one or teammate that night. So I just rolled with it. And night goes on. It's an amazing party. It's the who's who of A-list. So it's just meeting everyone. Night kicks off into high gear. It goes till 7 a.m. But I brought some substances to maximize this experience. And I was on the same thing that Tigger was on at the Pride March. So I take a few of those, and I'm feeling very happy and jovial and in a good mood and very lovey. And the DJ's playing. There's a dance floor at the bar. And then they're playing fun dance music, and then they slow it down. And they put on Purple Rain. And I'm standing there, and I'm watching all these A-list celebrities kind of like pair up and start to slow dance. And I'm like, wow, this would be a nice moment to share with someone. And up walks Precious, who is a beautiful, warm, kind person. Like, you can just tell in her eyes she's a lovely human being. And she walks up to me. She's like, do you want to dance with me? I was like, absolutely. So Precious takes my hand, leads me out to the dance floor. I wrap my arms around her respectfully, keeping distance like a high school, middle school dance. And we're slow dancing together to Purple Rain. And I'm high as hell on Molly at Madonna's Oscar party. And it was a beautiful moment. Like, I could have just lived forever in that moment and just disappeared into Precious and been happy for the rest of my life. So I'm slow dancing with Precious, and I look up at the DJ, and I look down, and there's one person slow dancing to Purple Rain by themselves, and it's Prince in like a beautiful silky suit with ascot and crazy jewelry. Prince is slow dancing to his own song, and not just slow dancing, rocking out and singing it. It was the most surreal moment of my life. And actually, to the right of him was Paul McCartney watching Prince slow dance to his own song. It was an insane moment. So all of the rejection and bad deals and egos and bad pitch meetings in LA, like just being there for that moment, watching Prince rock out to Purple Rain, it made it all worth it. Like, it was beautiful. No other way to put it. I don't know why I was there. I did not deserve to be there. But it's something that will live with me forever. So that's the good and bad of LA. That's my list. The 10 weirdest things I witnessed in LA. Some good, some bad. Utopia, dystopia. Just like LA. I miss it and I don't miss it. Hopefully you enjoyed this video.